In software development, estimation of work is really important, whether you're working in a team or on your own. And the idea is to provide an accurate estimation rather than one where you're saying, I want to leave myself extra time in case something goes wrong. You really want to provide an accurate estimate of the time work takes to the business. So why is this so hard, and how might we improve it? Watch on. So on one side, people might tend to overestimate the amount of time it takes to create a feature or refactor some code. The reason for this is they want to give themselves some time if something goes wrong. And this means the business can't really perform as well because they can't decide how many features can get into a project in a certain amount of time. The other way is to underestimate, and many people honestly try to estimate accurately, and they underestimate because they can't predict the things that are going to happen. And this means there's a pressure to work at weekends, there's a pressure to work late into the evening, and potentially produce worse quality work. This is obviously an issue. And people are struggling with it on the software development side, on the business side, and as a whole team, because naturally people find estimation a difficult thing to do. In Agile, they might use relative estimation, where you have story points which aren't strictly tied to a time. However, there's still this temptation to either overestimate to give yourself time and potentially look good to the business or managers, or to try to do the work within a certain time and be rushed and not provide a good quality solution, potentially because you're working late at night and those weekends. So let's dive deeper into these problems. Essentially, you can only predict your future performance based on your past performance. Naturally, if you're doing something new, this will be an inaccurate estimation. If you've only built a house before, building a car is a difficult thing to predict. Now, it's not that extreme in software development, but say a new feature doesn't look like previous features. And yes, in Agile, you might create spikes and try to produce work to make the estimation more accurate. But you never seem to quite get there, which puts pressure on the developer, perhaps, and makes them feel stressed. And it's that feeling of not knowing how to accurately estimate because you don't have the necessary experience. Equally, you can't necessarily predict when you'll be locked from a resource constraint. If you're a front-end developer, the back-end not quite being ready, or perhaps not being able to get some resources in time for your feature, or perhaps you're dependent on some other software developer for work they're doing. These things are generally difficult to predict and difficult to know beforehand. So when we're asked for an estimation, getting locked for resources is a common issue. And yes, there's a process for that. There's stand-ups where you say, I'm blocked. But this still provides a pressure right at the beginning of providing an accurate estimation. So what can we do about that? Within Agile, inevitably, you'll be working on several features or refactoring code sessions within a single sprint, which is typically 2 weeks. One solution to this estimation problem is to prioritize them, so ones that don't get done within the sprint get knocked off the end, so they don't get done. So the important things are completed first. This can work outside Agile as well, in that you have a certain amount of things you want to get done in a day or a week, and what doesn't get done, and you can get the essential minimum viable product out there within a certain deadline. Fantastic. To go with this, you'd want to have short tasks with a defined endpoint, so you'd know when a feature is done. I've already touched on one idea about removing time from estimations, having a relative estimation. Although it's still risky because you still have this pressure to deliver, and say you have story points and they're linked in some form with time, wherever in the company. Or as a developer, you might be using some management system where you're managing tickets like Jira, and people asking why tickets have been in a certain column for a certain amount of time. You'd have to face those questions and have good answers. And we're back to this question of pressure. And software development shouldn't be a stressful occupation, because sometimes taking time away from work and then coming back provides a solution much faster than working all night or working at weekends. So with that in mind, there's another solution to the estimation problem in that you're working in a team. There should be senior people to ask how long something should take, and who can also help deliver those pieces of work within the expected amount of time, because they can clear roadblocks and perhaps come up with faster solutions, even in general terms, that can help a more junior developer. And when we're thinking about teams, we're talking about roadblocks, missing resources, working with other parts of the organization to deliver for the business. If the organization you're working in or with or for appreciates this team working spirit, then it's about people working together rather than a single individual developer who needs to estimate some work and then deliver that within the expectation. It's something about trust and something about building up credibility within the organization. So as a single developer, what you want to do is to be seen to deliver and deliver good quality work within a reasonable amount of time, if not justify why not. The estimation is almost someone else's problem. You do it in the best spirit of cooperation if you're in an environment which gives back that best spirit of cooperation. Estimation is part of the team sport that is software development. If a more junior member of the team is making estimates, they should be helped and coached to do so. And sometimes estimation goes wrong, and sometimes there's a fixed deadline, and that can mean corners are cut. Testing perhaps isn't as thorough as it might be. All isn't lost, because in the agile world, you can go to the next sprint and clear up those issues. In a waterfall model, you can still come back to features because you need the work to be done to a high quality, no matter what the estimation said. It's creating software that fulfills the business needs and is also maintainable. Only the team can deliver that. And when the team has created roadblocks, the team needs to work to resolve those. Teams work to deliver software and teams work to deliver features. However, this doesn't absolve individual developers of responsibility. You need to do the things that you say you will do in good time. This is about a balancing act and really comes back to managing both the business and technical managers into what has happened and what will happen. Sometimes things are not deliverable because of team reasons. These can be defined, explained, and actions can be put into place of what should happen in the future. Not necessarily at the single developer level, but at the organization level. Where estimates go wrong, it can feel for individual developers like they're wholly responsible for the delivery of features in a certain timescale. This shouldn't be the case, and there should be mechanisms within organizations to talk about it. I mean, Agile, admittedly, does do this quite well with retrospectives. But that doesn't stop even sole software developers thinking about this and thinking about how they can estimate the work they're doing and estimating accurately and getting better over time in doing so and building up that credibility. I hope this video has been of use to you, and maybe I'll see you next time.